Joshua Rene. Hi guys, it's Mr. Joshua Rene Jeyaraj, Old Boy of ACS. He's here for the first ever in-TV interview session. Have a seat. Alright, so since you've left your office of Student Council President for about almost a year now, what are some of the things you think you want to see changing in ACS and ACSIans these days? Don't hold back because you already left the presidency, yeah?
Well, I think one of the things that ACS really needs is more girls in its midst. And I think I'm quite grateful that I read in newspapers that I think ACS is going to hook up with MGS for some integrated program to IB, right? So I think this will be one of the things that some of my juniors or even my brother can look forward to in the future. But in terms of what I feel is really important to ACS and what some of the ACS boys need to continue to hold dear to themselves in the future is perhaps a sense of servant leadership and a sense of gentlemanly behavior. I think there are some qualities that we cannot afford to lose as an ACS boy. For example, if I ever do come back to school, it'd be nice to see ACS boys opening their doors for their teachers or their fellow peers, or even like picking up litter, clearing their plates after they've had their recess. Just these simple things, I think, are quite important qualities and habits that you need ACS boys, and which we need to continue to uphold for generations to come.
Alright, so everyone sees you as a superhero who juggle like rugby, academics, student council, as well as a social life all together in IB, and you pulled it off brilliantly. So how would you explain how you managed to do this miraculous feat to other people, and would you have some tips for people who want to try to be like you in this sense?
Well, it wasn't an easy process. I have to say that I had my fair share of difficulties and my fair share of trials and tribulations. I mean, but in J2 I had to sacrifice some of the other goals that I had so that I could focus on my studies as well as the IB examinations. And sometimes this could be quite painful, letting go of some of the activities that I come to be so involved with. But basically what I found that really helped me along the way was that I really had a strong vision of what I wanted to achieve in IB. There was a finish line which I saw at the end of IB, and regardless of how many times I might stumble along the process, what really mattered to me was that I was standing up at the finish line. So, regardless of, if I didn't do so well in my J1 exams, or if my student council work was becoming really taxing, all I thought about was this finishing line, and I would just gear myself towards this finishing line. So it really allowed me to pace myself and work accordingly. And I think on top of that, I was also very lucky because I had a lot of support from my friends. I think ACS is a kind of environment that's not too competitive. If you really want to get notes from your friends, it's very easy to do so. If you really need to approach the teachers with mom, it's very easy to do so. And on top of that, I guess I had a lot of support from my parents. My mom would always make an extra effort to chaperone me about, or help me with work, or to purchase things that were necessary in order to facilitate my studies here. So I never felt, I felt pressured at times or stressed, but not stressed beyond reasonable measure. Like there was always a solution to any problem that emerged throughout the course of my studies at ACS. So I think, one is also, it was the environment that I was in. I'm very grateful that ACS was so accommodating. Also, the support of my parents and my peers.
We'd like to congratulate you on behalf of ACS on being awarded your Public Service Commission Scholarship. We understand you're the first ever IB student to have gotten this amongst your fellow peers as well. So could you share with us what exactly this scholarship is about and how you actually achieved it?
Well, basically, the Public Service Scholarship is a scholarship awarded to individuals who have a strong desire and passion to serve in the public service, which basically includes the administrative service, the legal service, the foreign service, and even MOE. So how candidates are selected for this scholarship is basically that if you want to receive this scholarship, you apply on the Public Service Commission gateway online, and you submit a personal statement as well as your list of CCA credentials. And from there, PSC will invite you to take a psychometric test, which is basically like an IQ test, harder version of the SATs, which you have to take in civil service college, or they actually organize it at various schools such as ACS Independent. And based on your personal statement, your CCA credentials, and the results of the psychometric test, you will actually be selected to undertake a psychological interview as well as a board interview. If the PSC feels that you're eligible for the scholarship. So what the psychological interview does is that it constructs a personality profile of you in order to determine if you have a knack for public service and whether you have the character to sustain your own way. And then you move on to the board interview, which I think people are more familiar with. You'll be members of the PSC Commission seated in front of you, and they'll ask you various questions about current affairs as well as your personal values and convictions. And based on this final interview, they will look at all the various processes that you have undergone before this board interview, such as the psychological interview, the psychometric test, your CCA report, even your performance in BNT for boys that have to go through national service. And from there, they will determine whether you're eligible to serve in the public service and whether or not they should award you the scholarship. And if you do succeed, they will award you. You probably receive a letter the following week or the week after, telling you that, oh, you've received so-and-so scholarship from the Public Service Commission to study so-and-so at so-and-so university. And out of this cohort of PSC scholars, a few of them get invited to attend the President's Scholar interview. And the President's Scholarship basically entails certain values such as compassion, humility, and empathy that they really want to see in the cohort of scholars. And basically the criteria for selection is you have this sort of situational test where they place you in mock scenarios in the civil service and they'll see how you respond in each of these scenarios. They also have an outward bounds tool with a peer review to see how you perform around your peers. And lastly, they also have another board interview. By this time, we found the entire PSC Commission and about 20 people who ask me questions. So that can be quite intimidating. But yeah, a week after, or 2 weeks after, you receive a phone call informing you that, oh, you received a President's Scholarship, or unfortunately, you don't receive a President's Scholarship. So yeah, that's basically the whole process from start to end.
Could you tell us more about your favourite study spot and your place to hang out, as well as your favourite food stall in the SSC?
I think my favourite hangout, well, probably two of them. I think firstly was the AstroTurf, because it's always nice to see a softball game or soccer match going on. And whenever one of my friends was playing the match, we just go down to the AstroTurf to support them. And I think the AstroTurf probably has the best view of the school, and it's probably one of the most relaxed and chill places. And the other place was, I suppose, the 615 classroom, because that's where most of my lessons were. And I think, especially in year 6, we spent most of our time playing cricket with a floorball in the back of the classroom, and I think that was quite a memorable experience. Aside from that, my favorite study spot was probably one of the classrooms that the Student Council opened up for us towards our IB exams. Why classroom? Probably because it's air conditioned, and I need the aircon because I sweat very easily. And why not the library instead of the classrooms? Because I need my peace and quiet when I study. I really like to be alone when I'm studying. I don't like people interrupting or talking to my friends. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons why I hardly ever study at school. Usually I tend to study on home. And what my favourite food stall is, I think it's probably Sister Act, I have to say, to be politically correct. Since we catered for them for all our prefect functions and all our student council functions. Alright, so what sort of friends do you respect and appreciate the most, especially in your secondary and IB years, who were with you all the way? Well, a number of friends that I would like to have. I think firstly was definitely be friends that are willing to share. I just want to share a story. When I was at my PSCP departure course, I got the opportunity to meet people from different schools, right? And we talked about the project work that they had to do in A-levels, and one of my friends was complaining about, whenever they did project work, there will always be some people who put in more effort than others. And he said one of the main reasons why this was so is because that people would tend to skip their project work so that they could do CIP to upgrade their CV. And I was like, wow, people would actually skip project work to go upgrade their CV. And I was like, in ACS, if your friends are skipping project work, they're probably out there hitting on some girl or going out to watch a movie. So yeah, in ACS, that that everyone is very selfless. When there's a need to help others, they will come forward and help people. Otherwise, they'll be doing their own thing. But what I really appreciated was that whenever I had trouble with a particular subject, I could easily just approach someone that was good at the subject. Or if I wasn't, if I missed a lesson, and I had no idea what was going on, I could just borrow it from someone, which I feel is a part of ACS that we all can be very grateful for. And another thing that I like to see in my friends is people that can really stand up for what they believe in, or really have the confidence to pursue their passions, even if people tell them they're wrong or ask them to do otherwise. And that is something that I myself would like to work towards as I move on from ACS. The ability to do things that I want to do. Even if people tell me I'm not going to succeed, or if I'm not doing the right thing, to have that sense of conviction in what I'm doing.
Let's say you were given the chance to do something differently in your school life from secondary 1 to year 6. What would it be and why and how?
Well, I think that if I had the chance to turn the clock back, I think most definitely I would have tried to join rugby in secondary 1. Maybe tried to convince my mom that I was big enough for the game, and maybe have placed myself better so that I wouldn't have to make painful decisions along the way, like having to sacrifice certain co-curricular activities so that I could focus on others. So perhaps maybe a greater sense of priorities along the way. And also, I always wanted the opportunity to explore more of drama in school. I had an opportunity to Odyssey of the Mind, but at the stage, but really nothing much beyond most of the countries to expose myself to drama. So that's probably one thing I would like to develop myself. Also, I think as Student Council President, there's a lot more that I could have done. For example, to really bond the student body together. But I suppose that at the end of the day, there's only so much time you have, and so many hands and feet. So looking back, I'm quite pleased with what I've done, but I know that I could always have pushed myself harder and achieve a lot more for the Student Council, for the students. But yeah.
So after you complete your law course overseas and you come back and finish serving your NS, when you become a proper ACS Old Boy in terms of age as well as stature, what would you like to be invited back as a guest of honor for in ACSI, when and why?
I think I'd probably like to come back for Founders Day. Because every Founders Day I feel like a tremendous sense of pride. ACS is like the greatest school in the world and no one's going to touch us, that kind of thing. I also like the fact that for once all 5 ACS schools, 6 ACS schools, 7 right? 7 ACS schools are celebrating the same cause on the same day. And I think that every Founders Day you feel like you're part of this big continuous you're part of a long line of ACS boys. You're just another generation in a big scheme of things. And who knows, maybe if I'm old enough and I come back to ACS, I might have a son receiving an academic award or something for this day, then I really would have felt that I've come full circle.
Alright, Joshua, so for the last question in your interview, a question which should hopefully entertain the audience as well as whoever watches. Tell us some crazy things you did while still in ACS and which no one would believe.
I think there were 3 things. Firstly, there was playing cricket in my classroom when I was still Student Council President. Secondly was making everyone wear the secondary school uniform in the last day of school. And I think thirdly was most definitely the ACS story, which received a lot of attention. I had an opportunity to... basically the ACS story was the talk we gave at the start of every year for the incoming batch of IB students, just to give them an introduction to the school. So we did a dramatization, and I had the opportunity to dress up in the IB girls uniform, something that I had always wanted to do since I was a Sec 1 boy. And needless to say, I feel that we left a deep imprint for people to remember. And quite a few shivers down the spine of some of the students and teachers. So those were probably 3 of the craziest things I did during my time in ACS.